All right, so welcome to this webinar we're having tonight on gratitude, and we are so excited that you guys are present with us, and we love to share this information with you. But to start, let's do a little housekeeping, which is one is, of course, we're using technology, and sometimes that can be tricky for us especially. So if that happens, let's just keep going, and if you fall out, just pop back in. Most of you might be viewing this on a recording, so that might not be an issue for you. Next is we'll be engaging with you guys about some of these topics we're going to be talking about. So you'll need a journal or something to write with, and pencil, of course. And then we're going to do some exercises, well, one in particular. And for that, you just need to be able to sit in a comfortable position with your feet grounded or your part of your body grounded. So if you need to, for those of you who are watching this, need to pause and go get something or get comfortable or find pillows or get paper, please do so and then catch back up with us. All right, so so this is generally how this webinar is going to go. We're going to share some concepts and share some information with you and have you think about it and maybe make some notes on it. And then at the end, we're going to do a shared gratitude experience. So just so you have an idea of the direction we're going tonight. But before we start, before we get too far along, we want to define gratitude so that we all are coming from the same place. And Lori and I, yes?
Before we start, we want to do, to have everybody write down in their journal
Yes.
one thing that they're grateful for.
Perfect.
Just whatever comes to the top of your head, just go ahead and write that down.
Yep. So I'm going to keep going while you just take some notes there and write that down. Okay, so to make sure that we're all coming from the same place, we're going to share our basic definition of gratitude. And this is from a gentleman named Robert Emmons, and he is a expert in gratitude, and he spends all his life researching gratitude, all aspects of gratitude, and his definition consists of two parts. The first is that gratitude is an affirmation of goodness in the world. And seriously, I've said that several times in the process of creating this video, discussing it with Lori, and sharing this information. Every time I say that, it just warms my heart. So it's an affirmation of goodness in the world and that we receive gifts and benefits from this goodness. Now, that's not to say that there's not frustration or, bad days or any of, the hard parts, sticky bits of our lives. It's just saying that it just encourages us to identify some goodness in our lives. And then the second part of the definition is that the source of this goodness is outside ourselves, which is something that I don't think we talk a lot about when we're talking about gratitude, that this source is coming from other external forces, which could be people, relationships, like a relationship with nature, or any other entity, maybe your spiritual power, and that these sources are the giving us gifts that enhance and make our lives better. So it's not even to say that, we don't do things for ourselves or anything like that. It's just saying, recognizing these forces outside of our lives that contribute in such a positive way to our lives. So gratitude is really a relationship strengthening emotion because it requires us to see how we have been supported and affirmed by others. And that's the crux of it, is this external gift giving.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and there's a lot of benefits that we can get from gratitude. There are physical benefits, psychological benefits, and social. And the physical benefits are that a grateful person is more apt to have a stronger immune system. They're less bothered by aches and pains. A grateful person is more apt to have lower blood pressure. They tend to exercise more and take better care of their health. And they sleep longer and feel refreshed upon waking. And psychologically, the benefits of gratitude are people are more apt to have higher levels of positive emotions. They are more alert, they're more alive and awake. They experience more joy and pleasure, and they tend to be generally more optimistic. Now, tonight we're going to focus on the social benefits of gratitude. And that's what the rest of the evening will be about. So those benefits are that people are more apt to be helpful, they're more apt to be generous and compassionate of others. People who are grateful are more forgiving, they're more accepting of others, they're better able to express themselves, and they feel connected and have a sense of community. Socially, this aspect is important because it allows us to see how we are affirmed by others. So, what is the effect of this social benefit? Well, it allows us to celebrate the present. It magnifies emotion in the moment. It makes us appreciate the value of something. And when we appreciate the value of something, we inherently extract more benefits from it, and we're less likely to take it for granted. It effectively allows us to participate more in life than being a spectator. We notice the positives of a situation more, and that again magnifies the pleasure that we get from life. Gratitude also blocks toxic, negative emotions. Emotions such as envy or resentment and regret, those are happiness crushers. You cannot feel envy and grateful at the same time. If you're grateful, you can't resent someone for having something that you don't have. And that's why people with higher levels of gratitude have low levels of resentment. Also, grateful people are more resilient. That means that they're more stress resistant. Studies have shown that in the face of serious trauma, situations of adversity and suffering, if people have a grateful disposition, they recover more quickly. Gratitude creates this dynamic and depth of perspective for a person. It allows them to interpret negative situations as an event only, and not this ongoing pattern that it's just unique to that particular event. And that allows for a person not to have this ongoing, continuing stress and anxiety. And grateful people also have a higher sense of self-worth. They feel more empowered. And like I said before, they're more accepting of others. When we're grateful, we have a sense that someone is looking out for us, that we're not alone, and that we are seen and that we have value. Mm-hmm. We can more readily notice a network of relationships both in the past and in the present. Those relationships that are responsible for us being where we're at in our life, and recognizing those contributions from other people for where we're at. But there's also, in this social realm, there can be some major challenges to gratitude.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Laura, thanks for that, because those social benefits really are astounding, and they're deep and wide. But with any social situation, there's challenges, because socially we have patterns, deep-rooted patterns that we've developed over time. So in this sense, all this goodness doesn't mean it's going to be easy. So there's three major ways in which gratitude can be challenged. And one is the self-serving bias, which means that when good things happen, it's because of something I did. And when bad things happen, it's become because of something external to me. It's basically about ownership. And gratitude directly counters that, because we're saying that when good things happen, it's because it's something outside of you. So sometimes we have to get around that self-serving bias in order to be able to stand in a place of gratitude. It's not saying that we don't do things that are good for us, but it's just broadening the acknowledgement of the goodness that's in the world. And then the second one is it counters control. And, you know, especially because we like to be able to control our feelings, emotions, our environment. And this, again, is saying that this goodness comes from outside of ourselves. And because of that, sometimes we just have to say that life is life, and we have to accept it how it is and be grateful in light of maybe whatever the circumstances. It just sometimes is how it goes, that kind of thing. And then the third way is the idea that we get what we deserve. We actually get more than we deserve. And in my case, that's a great thing, I think, because sometimes, you know, at being human, we all make poor choices, and knowing that I'm probably going to get more than I deserve because I'm in this grateful space and I can see that I'm getting more than I deserve is a good thing. So what we hear a lot now is that, you know, we have a birthright, or there's a sense of entitlement. But if we were to get exactly what we deserve all the time, then it doesn't leave room for wonder and appreciation. So the good news is we get more than we deserve, and we just have to remember that. So those are the three challenges that can come along with trying to shift and stand in a place of gratitude socially. So we're going to figure out, how do we become a grateful person?
Yeah. How do we become a more grateful person? Good question.
Yeah, sure.
When Gloria and I were talking about this, we thought of it in two different aspects. One is this ongoing cultivation of gratitude that you can practice. That's a commitment and a dedicated action that you take. The other is, how do you become a more grateful person in the present moment, especially when that present moment might be difficult or challenging in some way. So just briefly, we're going to look at these ongoing practices. And if these seem, simple, repeated practices that you hear about all the time, that's because these very simple things actually work. Having a gratitude journal where you write down what you're grateful for, it helps illuminate that and keep it present in your life. I have a little gratitude journal that one of my daughters made for me, and every night before I go to bed, I write one sentence down of something that really stood out to me that I was grateful for that day. And the very first entry says, "I am grateful for my daughter Mia, who made this lovely book for me." Another common practice that you could develop is starting your day and ending your day with just taking a pause and thinking about what it is that you are grateful for in that particular moment. People might call this counting your blessings. It's just acknowledging the things that you do have in your life that you are grateful for. And then there's also physical reminders that you could set a little picture, or like in my case, I have a little nature altar, and I actually happen to have an acorn on that altar. That's one thing that's on there. I like bringing things that I find from nature, just a little reminder of things out there that make me feel grateful. And with the acorn, I think about the mystery of life and the mystery of nature, and how, this tiny little seed can grow into such a big tree, and how that reflects in our life, like our ideas, and how we can nurture them and allow them to flourish into big ideas. And what we're going to concentrate on more tonight, though, is how do we be grateful, a more grateful person in the present moment, especially in the face of difficulty or in the face of challenging circumstances. So DeWitt Jones is a national, I think he's retired now, but he was a National Geographic photographer. And he has a wonderful TED Talk if you get a chance to look that up, spend some time on that, because he has a really great message. He says, our vision controls our perception, and our perception becomes our reality. And what he's talking about here is the idea of changing our lens or reframing how we look at things. And so we're going to talk tonight about 3 ways that we can reframe how we're looking at a situation and to find that gratitude in that present moment when it's difficult or challenging. And the first thing is, yes, go ahead.
I think now would be a good time.
Oh, yes.
Journal to put down something that might be frustrating for you right now, something that you're struggling with. Just jot that down in your journal, on your paper, and then we're going to look at that later. But just make a note of that.
Yeah. But what we call something matters. And so this idea of reframing is how we can change like a don't have into a have, or something challenging into an opportunity. So some examples of this would be uncertainties about the future. If this is a challenge and it's hard to find gratitude in that particular circumstance, if you're feeling uncertainties about the future, you can look at that, reframe it as an abundance of open doors and possibilities. You could look at a challenge as an abundance of opportunities. And here, if you're feeling critical of people, you can look at that as an opportunity to have compassion for others.
Mm-hmm.
And one more example would be if you're challenged by different points of view, people who think differently from you, you could view these different points of views as new ideas and new insights that can help you to be a more resilient thinker. And just take whatever it is that's challenging or difficult and flip it over like that. It can help us develop some gratitude in that situation. So that's the first thing. Secondly, we can reframe our way of thinking by just offering direct gratitude in that moment. In that moment where you're feeling maybe something's unjust, or you're frustrated, or you're fearful, or you just feel challenged in some way. Just one thing is to just in that moment to drop in and find something to be grateful for. Even if it's just your breath, even if it's just a simple thing like taking that next breath, being grateful for that. This is a way to force yourself out of that, or not out, but into a narrative of gratitude. And one aspect of this too is to maybe go a little deeper too when you're thinking about that thing that you're grateful for. Like, for instance, if you say you're grateful for your brother, maybe think a little bit more deeply about what exactly is it that you are grateful for about your brother. Just kind of, drill down a little bit and expand that idea of gratefulness. into specific aspects of that person or a situation. And then the third way we can reframe our thinking is that we can think that in a situation where we're challenged, especially when with people who are thinking differently than us, we can think that we are more alike than we are different. We can change our lens of looking at people as other and seeing how we might be more common than different. So this is a Venn diagram that we had posted on our Instagram. And what I like about this is just a great example is to take a piece of paper or take your hands and create a lens that you're looking through. And make it really, really tiny so that you're only seeing one aspect, one particular characteristic that's listed, especially if you're looking in the white section of this Venn diagram. And that's oftentimes what we do, is we have this teeny tiny lens that we're looking at people who think differently from us. And what we're concentrating on is their difference. Perhaps we're concentrating on what they lack or their faults, their inadequacies. But if we take that and broaden it, make it a little bigger, and keep opening up that lens so that we start to see all of that person, all of the qualities of that person. One thing that we all have in common right now is that we're all navigating people, politics, and the pandemic. We're all trying to figure our way through this situation right now that we're in. But as we broaden that lens, we see that there are other commonalities too. And it may surprise us to see that, that there are other traits and that are similar to ours, or values that we appreciate about other people. I have a friend who this political season put a sign in his yard that is different from my political point of view, the person that had the sign for. And if I was to just look at that sign with this tiny narrow view, I would miss out on all the other things that this person does. Oh, I'm sorry. This is sorry about that. I would miss out on all the other things that this person does in our community. He shovels walks for people in the wintertime that are too old to get out. He's always good about raking leaves for those older folks as well. He has a wonderful garden in his backyard, and he's always putting out, the bounty from his garden. Whatever he doesn't eat, he puts it out every day, what he picks. And people stop by and, they're riding their bikes, or they stop their car on their way home from work and grab some produce for their meal that evening. So expanding that view is really helpful to be able to see the other attributes of a person. And, we're not saying that this is easy. It could be very difficult to find the commonalities. It could be hard to even start to even look for commonalities in someone who's so utterly different from ourselves, or who we think is so utterly different from ourselves. Mm-hmm. And you may not know where to begin, and you may not even want to begin. But I think, what is the value? What's the value of starting? What's the value of being grateful for people who are so radically opposed to ourselves? And I feel the value in this is that it allows us to develop a depth to our own humanness and to our compassion. And it can be a lens. It can be a lens into ourselves. Valerie Kaur says, "You are a part of me I do not yet know." And I think that's so beautiful, to be so open to realizing that when we approach someone who we're meeting for the first time, or who we feel is different from us, there are attributes of that person, and we're going to learn more about ourselves if we're open to learning more about that person.
Mm-hmm.
So what we'd like to do next is to take that frustration or that challenging circumstance that you wrote down, and to either use one of these three tools to either change the way you're talking about it, reframing your way of thinking about how you're calling it, or offering some kind of direct gratitude right now in this moment, or changing your lens and expanding your lens and looking at perhaps other attributes of that challenging situation that may be a gift that you could actually be grateful for. Like with my friend, it is a gift that he is so helpful to others in the neighborhood and to me, and so willing to share his harvest. Or you could use maybe some tools that you have of your own to try and take that challenging or difficult situation and turn it into something that you're grateful, that where you can find some gratitude. You know, if you feel that the struggle to find commonality amidst a challenging situation, there is, you, like the Venn diagram, you can know that we're all human, we're all connected, that we all are a part of some family, that we are either someone's daughter or brother, or we're someone's father or grandmother, and that we're all members of a community, our immediate community, our local community, our family community, or our work community, perhaps a community that you develop through your hobbies, like a book group or a bowling league. We're all a part of some sort of community in that way. And if stretching to a place of gratitude is beyond your ability at any given moment, and this happens to all of us, you always have your breath to ground you and to create that space in your heart. Just notice your breath, and it will return the kindness with its life force.
Mm-hmm. You know, if you all need to take a pause, like I said, many of you are going to be watching this on replay, so you can pause if you need to reframe your frustration into gratitude with whatever tool, and then come back and join us, because we want to chat a little bit about some ideas around that. So pause if you need to. Okay, welcome back if you left us for a minute there. So one thing we like you to think about when you have done that exercise is, like, how did that feel? I know when I did that, it was a bit, I felt like a weight came off. Lori, did you have that feeling? Like a little bit of a weight came off, because I wasn't carrying this burden. I didn't even realize that was going to be my experience, actually. But then also the second thing that happened for me was I went from a superficial reframing to then the next thing that came up was something more about me, like a place where I needed to shine some light on why I was perceiving the situation that way. Absolutely. So I found that very fascinating. What was your experience like?
Well, I found it to be grounding almost. It kind of reoriented me to my value system. Like it reaffirmed that this is who I want to be in this life. I don't want to be someone who is critical. I want to be a person who's more compassionate. So when I, took a pause and reframed my frustration with, in my case, I was doing with a particular person, um, it turned it around, and I was able to see like another side of a story, like that there are many stories going on around here. We're only seeing it, from our perspective, but if I start looking at it from other people's perspective, it just kind of helped shift that back into the space that I want to be in as a person in this world.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that.
Yeah. I think along those same lines, I think it's important to remember that that the frustration may be fully valid, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's all about the space you're standing in. Not that that's not true. Not that that doesn't warrant anger or doesn't warrant frustration. I mean, I think I don't know if we've actually said this explicitly, but I think it's important to remember that we're not trying to run away from those things. We're just allowing them to be a beacon and a pointer to where we might want to pause and see what we can learn and then shift into gratitude.
That's a very good point. Yes, thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
right.
I think another thing too is that, like, we're talking about this right now, like this immediate shift, and that's direct gratitude or direct reframing. But when you start thinking about it, and the reason I'm mentioning this is because it happened to me. I was in a situation where I was very frustrated about, and I was angry, and I couldn't get out of that. And it actually took a day for me. It was not until the next day where I could actually shift into a space of gratitude and recognize what the situation was offering me and how that was what I was grateful for.
Right.
So just know that you may have to take some time with some of this reframing.
Absolutely. And it's layered too. I mean, just like anything else, we're talking about patterns and narratives and ways of being, and sometimes it does take time and a lot of reflection, and but creating awareness around it and starting that process of actually actively reframing is just I think a really good start to develop a practice of being a more grateful person.
So it's like twofold. Like what you're saying is there's the ongoing cultivation,
right,
and then these legs of it, these actual applications that actually do it. Yeah. Very fun stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Did you want to add anything else? Are you good to go?
No, I think that's good. Yeah.
All right. One thing though, again, take a moment when you have time is to write down how you felt about how that reframing went for you, because I think you might find some value in there if you try that.
Yeah.
So what our goal here today was to give you some ideas and tools to help get you started and developing and deepening your gratitude practice, right? So now what we want to do is solidify it in a shared gratitude experience. So this is where we want you to get comfortable, relaxed. You don't need to worry about you can have your paper by you for a little later, but you're just going to be fine, just relaxing. We're just going to take some time, and during these next few moments, I'm just going to ask you to just stay with my voice, because right now, we may wander a bit. So if you ever feel that, just come back to my voice and just stay with me during this time, okay? So we're going to just take some time here to simply gift ourselves a moment of stillness and peace. We're going to give ourselves an opportunity right now to go within. So get comfortable and close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Feel whatever part of your body is touching the earth, and allow that to ground into the earth. Feel that exchange of energy that happens there, and take comfort in that you are of the earth is of you. If you like, you can place your hands on your knees with your palms opened up, And now turn your attention to your breath. Feel its appreciation of this attention by it naturally slowing and deepening. Take a long inhale. Feel the oxygen entering your body. Slowly release. Releasing gently and calmly. It'll calm you. Feel how when you release your breath, it relaxes your body and your shoulders drop. Your body settles in a little more. Give yourself and your mind permission to settle. Feel your body grounded and centered and relaxed. I understand it may be hard to have your mind settle. But just pause. Just allow it to relax and stay with my voice. Breathe in. Breathe out. You may be experiencing some difficulty in your life right now. Just know that with every challenge and pain we are faced with, within these moments is where incredible strength and growth develops within us. And in the moment of pain and struggle, frustration, feelings of hopelessness, understand that there is something we will take from this that will help us along this path of human experience. Nothing is brought to us without a greater purpose of evolving us through this journey in human life. So right now, as you listen to my voice, I want you to simply exhale. Let all of that fear and tension just melt away out of your body, out of your mind, out of your being, even just for this moment. Inhale. Exhale. Remember that there's a great power within you, and that power will guide you. Take another deep breath. Simply relax, allowing yourself to settle deeper into this stillness you're experiencing. This stillness is always with you. It's your neutral state of being, the state of complete presence and self-awareness. In this presence, we're going to connect to our heart and find true peace and love that's in us. Take another deep breath. Let it go. Feeling the body to continue to let go. The mind letting go. And be present in all that you are. A beautiful, radiant being of light. Welcoming calmness and peacefulness. We're going to repeat a very simple mantra of gratitude. This phrase will allow your mind to focus on the positive, beautiful things around you. And even if it's hard for you to find something to be grateful for right now, even giving thanks for the most simple gifts of life, like your breath, like having this moment to yourself, could be enough to begin to cultivate that beautiful energy within you. So as you allow yourself to go deeper, feel free, if you would like, to place your hands in the prayer position with the palms of your hands together. I want you to repeat this very simple mantra. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. With gentleness and compassion, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. As you say these words, feel the energy these simple 2 words carry. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. There is great energy in these words that turn into gratitude. Feel it within you as it speaks from your heart. Thank you for my breath. Thank you for my strength. Thank you for the love around me. Thank you for the support. Continue to repeat this from your heart. Feel the words. Thank you, universe. Thank you for my body. Thank you for the people around me that care for me. Thank you. It's okay to feel emotions arising. If they do, just send your love and gratitude from your heart. Continue to repeat this mantra and allow your heart to speak, surrounded by the energy of gratitude and love. Find everything that's beautiful in your life that you can give thanks for, even the smallest of gifts in your life. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Come back to your breath now. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Notice how you're feeling. And remember that this is a tool you can use every day, especially when there's a challenge. Because it's in those moments when our mind and ego cling to lack and fear that we must fight to keep our strength and presence through love and gratitude. We encourage you to practice this in any moment you find throughout your day. Each breath, each day is a blessing, if you choose to see it that way, and the choice lies in your lap. And one more breath in. And out. Please feel free to stay in this meditation, in this space. And when you're ready to come out, consider writing down your experience or maybe some thoughts or how you felt. In the meantime, we want to thank you for spending this time with us, discussing gratitude. We are grateful for each of you for taking the time to better yourselves and to share your energy with us. It's been an honor of ours tonight. Thank you.